No problem.
Can I
No
ask a
problem.
question?
Yeah, yeah. Have we spoken before?
Yeah. I want to ask you a question.
What were we
about-
talking about?
Doesn't matter. I want to ask you a question about. You said the Quran and it's the literal word of God, and that it's holy and. It's
I remember you. Yes.
I have a question about.
No. We spoke last time.
I have a question about
when it,
homosexuality for you.
you were supposed to give me evidences whitewashing the crimes of Israel. I'm waiting for those. I'm waiting for the answer. That's the last time we spoke.
I don't want to talk about Israel.
I want. Well, that's the last time we
I don't
spoke.
think you want to talk about. I want to talk about homosexuality with you.
Have you changed your stance with regards to the disproportion and the collective punishment that's happening on the Palestinians? Can we at least agree on that? That's atrocious, that's abhorrent, and that needs to be stopped. And Israel needs to be stopped.
I personally, but I'm irrelevant because I'm a nothing, a nobody living in England. But
And why are you here then? Why are we having a conversation? I want to have a conversation with someone relevant then.
No, we're all relevant and irrelevant.
Well, there you go then. Let's not play games
in
then.
In relation to Israel and Palestinians, I don't have any control or power or influence.
You see how I remembered you, yeah?
Yeah, well done, on Israel. If on the 8th of October...
And why did you speak to me about it then?
My view was, and still is, that the Israeli government and the Israeli army should not have attacked Gaza. That was a mistake. They were baited into it, and they did it, and it's been an act of vicious revenge, angry, violent revenge. Right? But I'm not living in Israel. I don't know all the facts on the ground. I don't know.
I think there's some progress from when we spoke last.
So that's my view, and at the same time, one of the things I find really, really difficult and saddening and frustrating and weird is that when I mention the fact that people who subscribe to the organization of Hamas commit crimes against Islam, right? I don't find a lot of fellow Muslims condemning them for doing that very loudly. They may do it. You may do it now to me, but I don't see any signs of any Muslims saying Hamas released hostages because it's against Islam, because against human rights. I don't see that. And of course, I could condemn Israel for all sorts of things, which I'm happy to do in some cases to some degree. But you see, the difference is that.
Look, James, I've never seen a black swan. That doesn't mean black swans don't exist. So you're saying you want Muslims to come around over here to condemn Hamas. However, on the other hand, you're saying when I have a conversation with somebody, yes, they will condemn Hamas. It's heads I win, tails you lose sorts of scenario. So if I speak to somebody, they will. If I don't, then they're not. Why would somebody go around saying, yeah, condemn Hamas, hello?
If you're a religious Muslim, right, and you believe in Islam and the Quran as being the truth, and that people who follow the Quran need to not kidnap babies, right, and rape people and all that kind of stuff, right, and then you see people in the name of Islam doing that in a conflict where you have an interest, right? I would have thought if Israel were doing crimes like that, I would be the first person to stand here against Israel and say, as a Jew, right, and as a Zionist, what they're doing out there is categorically, unequivocally evil and wrong and against my beliefs and my values and my religion.
Would you take that thing as in a vacuum?
Sorry?
Would you take a isolated incident in a vacuum?
No, but I don't know what you mean by the question, but what I would say is...
For example, October 7th. A lot of people have started talking about this since October 7th.
Right.
Do you take October 7th in a vacuum?
No, of course, that'd be ridiculous.
That's precisely so. When you're asking for people to condemn,
yes,
people are not quick to condemn. Why? Because there have been many people in the past, like Nelson Mandela, which premature to a conflict have been labeled as terrorists. Just going around saying this person is a terrorist, I condemn, is not helpful. What we want to do is save as many lives as possible. And whatever can be done to mitigate that, that's priority. Now, to divorce settler colonialism, to stealing someone's land, to cutting off food, water, electric supply from that, I don't think is helpful to the conversation. If we take the whole thing into consideration and then we say, what does Islam say about this? I think we can have a healthy dialogue and a healthy discussion as opposed to something happened in October 7th, Islam must condemn this. Why would Islam take something in isolation? Islam is a way of life. It takes the whole thing.
I'll explain to you. So on the 6th of October, there was a huge rally here in Hyde Park in support of the Palestinian people.
6th of October.
6th of October. Yeah, Sunday the 6th of October. there was a huge rally here, right? And in September and August and July, I've been to several of these pro-Palestinian people. Now, the purpose of those events, as far as I can understand it, is that people, whether they're Palestinians or Muslims or just decent-hearted, warm-hearted human beings, religious or not, are seeing the suffering of the Palestinian people in a conflict, and they're saying, stop the killing, stop the starvation, stop the maiming, stop the oppression, right? Stop it now. And in their hundreds of thousands, they came here because they want that to stop.
Let's do something.
Yeah?
You're talking about hostages. Let's do something together, yeah?
Okay.
Will you agree? We can both stand together.
Yeah.
We free all of the hostages.
Yeah.
The hostages that are under the control.
I wish we could. Yes.
If you have a holistic and a realistic and a practical image that you say, look, the children that have been unjudicially taken, wrongly release those, release the Palestinians, and release what Hamas has taken.
Yeah,
I would stand with you on that. I would stand. Would you stand with me on that?
First of all, extrajudicial.
Would you stand with me? Yeah.
Extrajudicial arrest and captivity is wrong. Yes, especially of minors. Okay, but of anybody, right? However, there's several differences between taking some children from their homes in southern Israel during an attack, and raiding a house and taking someone who's suspected of, without any court case, suspected of some crime or other, right? Those are different things, and they're different because in the first case, there's no justification for it at all. In the second case, there's a claimed justification. It's a specific person who's suspected of doing crime. I don't think they should be held for any more than a certain number of days without charge.
How can we?
Hang on, I haven't finished yet.
How can we analyze that?
One minute.
See if it's valid or not.
Before we get that, okay, we can analyze it. The second thing is that if my baby is kidnapped, or my grandmother is kidnapped and held in a tunnel, right? I have no contact with her. They have no rights. They have no medical care. There's no duty of care, right? The Palestinian 13-year-old, who's basically a kid, who's snatched from their family and held in a jail in Israel. Yeah, they have lawyers. They can be visited. They are fed every day. They get exercise. They get sunshine. They get medical care. They get all sorts of stuff. So
you're talking about a few points. It's difficult for me to answer all of those points.
I'm finishing. Hostages, such as those kidnapped in October 7, and Palestinian prisoners who've been taken for decades, right, are different categories. That's all. But I still think they should be released. Okay,
one of the things, the reason why people might not necessarily be talking about Hamas that much in this country, which is despite it lauding the fact that there is freedom of speech over here, Hamas is declared as a terrorist organization. If anybody is seen promoting, if anybody is seen even speaking, and that speaking can result in someone favorably speaking in their favor or whatnot, you can be slung in prison and whatnot. That's why people are very careful about that. That's why people are very cautious about that. And
sorry to interrupt you. Don't think if you think that it's possible that if on a Palestinian march you had a sign that said "Free Palestinians" and another sign that said "Hamas free the Israeli hostages" or the hostages.
No,
they'd get arrested for that.
Sorry. No, what?
They're scared.
Well, I was listening to you for 5 minutes and you've just cut me off 10 seconds and you've made a conclusion out of it. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is, based upon your initial point, you said that if I speak to people about Hamas, they're not very forthright in condemning. I'm saying whether it's condemning or not condemning, you can't even have a conversation without people being worried that they're going to lose their job over here. Because ironically, in a country of freedom of speech, this does not qualify as freedom of speech. So people over here are worried about their livelihood being snatched from them. Why? Because their words can be misconstrued. That's what I'm saying. And I know, as a Muslim, I've analyzed this. And if you've got legislation to say otherwise, I'd love to hear it, and you can say on camera, and we can.
But you cannot be arrested for having a release.
People have been.
For saying Hamas release.
That's not what I'm saying.
That's what I'm
Again, I don't care what you're saying. I'm talking about.
What I'm saying. We're having a conversation.
You're saying 4 or 5 different things. I'm addressing the first point that you said when you started this conversation. It's the third time now I'm saying it. You said when I come, and I'm asking people about Hamas. I'm going to try to speak slower now. When I'm asking about people about Hamas, they are not condemning it. They're not vocal about it. I'm telling you, they are not vocal. They are not comfortable speaking about it. Hamas in general. Forget about speaking about the hostages. We can't even have a conversation about this. Hamas, one second. Hamas is not just to do with the hostages. Hamas is not that's not the only thing that is up for debate or discussion with them. There's many other facets which in a discussion, in a debate, you have to talk about many of those facets and points. You cannot just talk about one thing, which is Hamas hostages. That's the only thing you can have on the placard. Or in a discussion. One second. Or in a discussion. I'm saying you can't even have a discussion about this. A discussion about this, if it is construed as in Hamas's favor, then you can be in trouble for that. I'm not just talking about the hostages. Hostages is one aspect of that. Now, coming back to this point when you're saying that Hamas coming over and taking the babies, that's done extrajudicially, and because there's a claim for what? I don't give a flying toss about the claim that Israel says when they are sticking objects up the arseholes of people in the prison camps.
You see, you're doing what you did with the previous guy, right? What happened if...
Can I, look, I didn't interrupt you. I didn't interrupt you. I'm going to continue now. So, if you've got Israelis sticking things up the arseholes of people, and how is this freeing the hostages when you're abusing prisoners? There are 10,000 prisoners.
I don't know why you have conversations.
Do you have patience? Do you have patience?
I don't have.
Do you have patience?
I don't have patience.
If you don't have patience, walk away.
I don't have.
If you're going to allow me to talk, then you can. Then talk when it's your turn to. You twisted 4 things.
Right.
I was sitting here.
You twist 4 things.
Yes, you did.
What did I twist?
I'm about to tell you if you let me finish, but you're stopping me on one thing. Can I finish?
If you stop twisting things, yes. Otherwise,
yeah, if your people can stop sticking things up the arsehole of the Palestinians.
It's disgusting to do that.
Well, exactly. When you get rabbis on television saying you're doing a good job.
They disgust me. And
the rabbis disgust you.
Yes, and the 95%.
And the television channels bringing them on, do they disgust you as well?
They're disgusted.
And the American government that's not condemning them, are they disgusting as well? They're not condemning them. Who's condemned them? Who's condemned them?
Condemning the abuse of Palestinian prisoners?
Yes. Who?
Everybody with a
America. Who?
Heartbeat,
Who?
Pretty much.
Who? Which politician?
I don't
know. Suddenly you turn Italian. Yeah, I don't know.
Stop making fun of me.
You're making fun of yourself.
I'm not making fun of you.
When you're not allowing me to finish and you're gaslighting me, oh no. I must interrupt you because you're speaking a lie. And you're telling me Israel is taking kids, taking infants out of their homes, sticking them in prison.
Infants.
Oh, but they make a claim. Yes, they are.
Okay, how old?
Yes, they
how
are.
Old,
about 6-year-olds.
6-year-olds out of
yes,
their homes
yes.
and putting them in prison.
Yes,
really?
not even out of their homes,
Name
from
one.
the streets.
Name one.
Muhammad Ahmed.
Muhammad Ahmed.
Yes.
You made up that name.
Why?
Show it to me. Go on, show me.
Show you Muhammad Ahmed.
Yeah, go
well,
on.
come with
Who's
me. Let's
6?
go to Palestine then.
Who's 6?
Yes,
show me
Muhammad
the
Ahmed.
screen.
How am I going to show you Muhammad Ahmed? That's up to you to search for. What makes you think it's a lie? So when you speak, what makes you so sure? What makes you so sure?
Because I lived in Israel, I speak fluent Hebrew, and it's not.
Oh, I speak fluent Hebrew, therefore Israel can't abduct 6-year-olds.
No,
I lived in Israel, therefore they can't abduct 6-year-olds. What's rubbish is that you're saying that they can make a claim, and they make a claim when they are abducting 7-year-olds and 6-year-olds, but they didn't make a claim, therefore it's okay. Oh, by the way, 10,000 prisoners are in detention, and Bet Salem has released a report saying, welcome to hell. Bet Salem, welcome to hell, because these 10,000 hostages are being abused, and you're saying, they made a claim, so I guess that's okay because I lived in Israel and I speak Hebrew.
They are not hostages.
And you're saying I'm making fun out of you. You're making fun out of yourself. You were shouting. You raised the octave.
Fine. I'll take it lower.
No problem. We can do that.
Okay. All right. So I haven't read the B'Tselem report. I will read it.
Please do so.
Yeah. Okay. There is a category error. Yeah. Between prisoners and hostages. Okay. Every single captive in Israeli prison, which B'Tselem says is hell, every single one of those.
You're lying here. So according to your character, according to your criteria, I can interrupt if you're saying a lie. I mean, Israel is not a legitimate government. They are occupying force. So for you to give legitimacy to them and say, oh, this is happening, and oh, well, because they've taken them, they're not technically they are hostages. They're an occupying force, and they're putting them in prison and sticking things up their ass. It's worse. When you look at the hostages, taken by Hamas, they're coming out with smiles on their face, and they're absolutely fine, and they're coming out. But when you look at the Palestinians coming out, you know, shaking, you know, coming out malnourished, coming out abused,
You are distorting reality.
There were people who were taken to doctors. They were taken to doctors, and doctors were saying, what is this? How are his internal organs punctured from him being in prison? What on earth have these prison
abuse of prisoners.
been doing?
I condemn abuse of prisoners, but you just shut up. Shut up. I don't talk to you.
Now don't speak to him like that. That's rude.
Sorry, I apologize. No, please stop. Please stop.
It's not good.
Listen. Right? There were 253.
You okay? Yeah.
Sorry, my apologies. There were 253 hostages that were taken on the 7th of October. And I know there are lots of prisoners taken on both sides, especially by the Israelis over many decades. But I'm talking about those hostages, right? Because you mentioned it. Yeah? 100 or so will release in November, right? Now, you just told a complete untruth. Now, you either know it's not true, and you're lying, or you don't know what the truth is, right? Because if you look at the interviews that were given on Israeli TV and international TV of some of particularly the women.
Yeah, the hostages were very happy. They were saying we feared the Israelis more because they were coming with the Apache helicopters shooting at us.
They were not happy.
Why were the Israelis killing their own people?
You're not listening to me.
Why were they killing their own people?
Just let me finish.
Why were they killing their own people though? I thought we wanted to free the hostages.
Let me finish.
Tell Israel to free the hostages as well. And stop killing their own hostages.
Let me finish. Why are you smiling at the death of people?
No, I'm smiling at the fact that you're ignoring what I'm saying. When Israel is killing its own hostages, all you can say is, let me finish. Let me finish. Tell Israel to stop killing the hostages and then we'll free them.
You know what?
Sir, please,
You
have a
win.
question before you go.
I
please.
lose.
Please, before you
You
go.
speak disgusting things better than I do. Okay? Well done.
Please, before
Bye
I have
bye.
a question for you, sir, please.